The Dechambros are back.
We're back.
And Tanner, so is Justin Thomas.
Finally.
What a great weekend that we had at the RBC Heritage. Seeing JT get back into the winner's circle. I mean, we've been talking about it all year. It's the year that we were hoping to see Justin come back. It's the year that we knew Justin was going to come back. We just didn't know what weekend
or when.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it was this weekend, but really happy to be able to see that out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Masters prep, I did a lot of focus on JT. I was really happy with where he was at and didn't know that he was having the change with his caddy there, right? I think that, throws off your first start, especially when that change happened so quickly coming into the Masters. Who knows what happened behind the scenes, how long that had been in the play for. But for him to come out, 1 week after and put up that showing, I mean, JT shined. The PGA Tour is better when JT shines.
100%.
And I couldn't be happier. Honestly, it was really great. I didn't watch a lot of golf. I watched a bit on Sunday. I think we both talked about how we had a little bit of a golf hangover from the Masters, but seeing JT in contention had me excited again, and I watched the last half of Sunday's match there, so it was really great.
It's one of those things like the RBC Heritage. We talked about this last week, how it's really tough for me that it's a signature event. Oh, there we go. Get off your phone there, Mike.
I'm pulling something up for a reason, dog. I just
okay.
didn't think it would go into a video.
It happens to the best of us, guys. This is live. Here we go.
This is what you get.
It was tough for me that it was a signature event, but it honestly played like a signature event. Like, we got a lot of good drama. We got, the course showed beautifully. I did watch, the back half of Sunday as well, and
yep.
Like you said, a little bit of that Masters hangover. I checked in on it Thursday and Friday, watched a couple of hours on Saturday and then Sunday as well. So not my usual, I'd say, TV time for an event, but got enough to see, the course and see how it was playing. And really impressive showing from JT. I mean, to start off with a 61, tying the course record, just incredible stuff out of him. I was a little worried when I saw that because, the last time he tied a record, he shit the bed over the weekend. So I was worried we were going to see that again, but we're finally in a time where JT can put 4 days together.
I mean, yeah, but look at his day 2 and day 3. He went -2 in both of them after posting a course record. So, yeah, I agree with you, but it almost feels like coming into Sunday, I felt like we were in for a letdown because he had so much speed on day 1, right? And he was shooting so well. And then to come back the next 2 days, shoot -2 only, it's almost like it was setting himself up for what's happened in previous weeks this year, where he shoots really well on one day and then has a few down days and just can't really pull it together. I mean, this weekend obviously was a different story, and
it's much better to see him shooting -2 than +2 or +4 like we've seen in the past. I'm okay with it. I mean, he still won the tournament at -17. It's a super low weekend to go. I know we were talking a little bit earlier today too about just a couple of other incredible showings. Like, Scottie Scheffler just continues to show us that his floor is the highest that we have on tour. I mean,
it's insane.
Having bad weeks and still finishing at the top of the leaderboard is just insane to be able to see.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, when's he going to turn it on? If he does, how many can he win this year? With Rory playing the way he's playing right now, if we get Scottie in his form from last year, what does that look like dueling out the rest of this year, right? I don't know. I'd be interested, right? Is Scottie going to be top 10ing the rest of this year and it be a down year for Scottie, right? Or is he going to toss in 2-3 wins, which I think he's going to get 2 or 3 wins personally. But
yeah, it's interesting to see when those wins will come up too. Like, I really want to see Scottie come out and win a major that's not the Masters, right?
Yep.
Because, I mean, 2 majors is incredible. It's an incredible career to have. It's hilarious that we talk about Scottie with 2 majors going like, oh, what else can he do? But being able to knock off a non-Masters win, I think just only helps to solidify him as the greatest golfer right now, and especially in terms of, the generation moving forward. Right.
Yeah.
So another notable mention I wanted to have, Andrew Novak.
Yep.
So Andrew Novak, of course, being in the final pairing and ultimately losing in the playoff to JT. This is the third event this season that Andrew Novak has found himself in second place going into Sunday. He's got himself 2/3 at the Farmers and at the Valero, and now obviously a second place losing in the playoff. So kind of a surprising name to see having
a great year,
that success. Like when you look at the rest of his year, I mean, he's played 13 events. He's missed the cut in 6 of them. And he's been in the final pairing in 3. He's a real up and down guy this year, but just nice to see another name kind of at the top of the leaderboard to give us someone else to talk about other than the Ludwigs and, you know what I mean, the Zalatoris and the JTs and the
Novak's almost like the new Zalatoris. I mean, without the major finishes, right? But in
missed
a sense,
the cut in the Masters, so I mean, we're missing that. But just something interesting that I saw pop up on my phone, just the success that he's been having when he has been successful, and just kind of that roller coaster of a season he's had.
Well, I saw something online with JT's win that I wanted to kind of go through with you because it kind of showcases one stat really kind of right in your face on Tiger Woods and how great Tiger Woods was. Okay. So this is Justin Thomas's 16th professional win through his 250th career start. Okay. So I'm going to go through and name off some other golfers and how many wins they've had in their 250 career starts. So Jordan Spieth, 13 wins. Okay. Rory, 26 wins in 250. Dustin Johnson, 20. Phil Mickelson, 21. Ernie Els, 16. Tiger Woods, 71. The next closest is Rory at 26. But to make it even crazier, you ready for this? In 250 starts to start his professional career, Tiger Woods only missed the cut how many times, Shane, out of 250?
Twice.
Oh, that'd be crazy. 13. 13 times.
I don't know, man.
He missed the cut 13 times only in his first 250 career starts. That's fucking insane. That's insane.
That's nuts. I mean, that's
insane.
What, 5 seasons? Missed the cut 13 times in 5 seasons. That's almost
more seasons. Because how many starts are on tour? 20.
Oh, fuck, those are starts.
Shane, those are starts.
That's not even just events.
No, those are starts.
That's fucking nuts.
That's over 10 years of his career. He only missed 13 cuts. Like, that's insane.
That's
insane. So, yeah, I saw that and just I had to bring that one up. Crazy. But good for Justin once again. We love Just and hope he gets a few more this year.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I'm ready to move on for you because this is another one. I know I say this a lot, but this truly is one of my favorite tournaments that we have on tour. And I think it's comes from my love of team golf.
Yep.
Because we have the Zurich Classic coming up this weekend. Of course, we have teams. There's going to be, 80 teams enter.
160 people, yeah.
33 teams make the cut. So it's a real small cut to be able to get in there. We got 4 ball in rounds 1 and 3. So that, of course, is best ball. And just to clarify, of course, best ball on tour is not the same kind of best ball that we play in scramble tournaments. Both players are going to play their own ball. The best score is what's going to have as the team score. Foursomes is always fun to watch too when we get alt shot in terms of rounds 2 and 4. And I always love ending with alt shot because you have to have that teamwork and you have that change of a ball. And that's really where the partnership and the teams come into play because all of these guys use different equipment. They use different clubs. They use different balls. So being able to know how to change your shot, to be able to change the spin based on the ball you're using is something that always intrigues me in terms of the skill that these guys have and just the level that they play to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people that we're going to kind of go over, and I think having the same trainer or, having the same team is going to be really important this week for exactly what you're stating there, right? I mean, communication is going to be really important, especially when you're talking about my ball doesn't doesn't have as much of a spin rate as yours. My ball has a higher flight pattern than yours. So if your 7 normally goes this distance, you're going to have to, like, there's going to be a lot of that strategizing that needs to occur. And I think that teams that are already acting as teams have the same training staff, have a little bit of a leg up on things like that. But I'm going to go into a little bit of a course preview just to talk about how TPC Louisiana plays.
Let's get into it.
And then kind of help us understand how we're coming to some of our picks here this week. So TPC Louisiana, it's a par 72, plays 7,425 yards. So there's water hazards that are featured throughout the course, but the design of this course has led to a very scoreable layout in past years. Last year's event went to a playoff with matching scores of -25. And the year prior, we had a course record at -30, right? So taking a look at this here, putting is going to be really important this week because you're looking for low scores. You're looking for birdie conversion rates, right? You're looking to get birdies, not pars this week, because that's what's going to win it. And truthfully, I think because there's only 33 teams plus ties that are going to be making it through, and there's 80 teams, getting a hot start could also be important.
100%. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
So who do you want to talk about this week? What do you got your eye on?
So let's get into it. You mentioned that playoff last year, and that ultimately was won by our guy Rory McIlroy and my guy Shane motherfucking Lowry.
Love it.
I'm really excited to be able to see these guys back in action. This, of course, is going to be Rory's first tournament back from his win at the Masters and solidifying his Grand Slam finally for his career, and again solidifying him as one of the greatest of all time to be able to hit a golf ball.
The sixth greatest.
So I'm really, really excited for this as well. I talked a little bit earlier about how much I love the Ryder Cup, how much I love team golf, and obviously this is a Ryder Cup year.
Yep.
This is going to be a great preview for a possible pairing that we're going to see at Bethpage Black this year. Obviously, they won it last year. They play well together. They've been paired together in Ryder Cups in the past. So I definitely think they are the favorite for a reason. I mean, at plus 360, they're leaps and bounds beyond, who's second in line to them. I think that there's a reason to that, and they're definitely going to be that team that we're going to see at the top of the leaderboard early and often throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I think truthfully, for our purposes of picking like top 5, top 10, top 20, it's the biggest cheat code in golf this year besides Scotty Scheffler.
Yep.
I mean, we famously talked about, will Shane Lowry have a Masters hangover after that crushing defeat on, day 4 there? He follows that up with another top 20 finish. He is a machine. Statistically, these two golfers are the best two golfers on this course, on this weekend. It almost feels like free money saying they're going to win this week, but, watch them finish second or something,
For
right?
sure,
But
yeah.
I mean, I don't see a possibility of them finishing outside of the top 5 beyond one of them getting an injury, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Shane Lowry, you mentioned that he's been an absolute top 20 cash cow for me this year.
Yeah,
he's
a
every
machine.
time that he tees the ball up, you better believe I'm putting a top 20 bet on him just because I think he's missed it once so far this year. So
well, I mean, he's even raised his world golf rankings this year alone by 26 rankings just from his play, right? He is having a great year as well, honestly. And he's another major winner as well.
100%.
Honestly, I don't know how anybody picks against them. But for our purposes, I'm going to kind of stay away just because it's a little bit of a cheat code.
I was going to say, we'll see who does, right? We'll see who does. Let's go down the odds here, and I wanted to talk about a couple of groups for me that are in the top of the odds that I'm personally staying away from. I'm going to start that off with, second in the odds is going to be Kurt Kitayama and Colin Morikawa at plus 1,400. So quite the jump, obviously, from plus 360 to plus 1,400. Kurt and Colin got T23 last year, and we all know about the year that Colin's having. We've been talking about Colin all year. His ball striking is back to that elite level. Colin is back to the Colin that we know and love, and he's away from that column that we've been like, what the hell's going on? Where have you been? Okay. That being said, Kurt Kitayama is not that guy. So far in 2025, he's missed 5 cuts out of the 10 events that he started. And in those 5 cuts that he's made, he has not broke the top 30 this year.
Yep.
Is Colin good enough to carry the team? I mean, best ball, maybe. But when we get into alt shot, Kurt Kitayama is going to be a problem for Colin. And that's why I could not say it louder. Stay away from Kurt and Colin this week.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, there's only one thing in my mind that leads you towards picking them. It's, their prior, I guess 2 things. Their prior finish, right? Being decent finish. And then as well, they're friends, right? They're good friends. So, that familiarity is definitely going to help them. But this is what I wrote when I took a look at that pairing. So similar to Rory last year, Morikawa can't find a way to win on tour this year, despite statistically having a good year. Will the partnership of Kitayama help him overcome his demons like Shane Lowry helped Rory last year? Both are great ball strikers, but they both rank outside the top 90 in strokes gained putting. And so for that reason, I'm fading this duo.
100%.
And so I'm right there with you. I love Morikawa, just not this week.
Beautiful. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's move on to next in line at plus 1,600, JT Poston and Cashmore Keith Mitchell. So Cashmere Keith played with Joel Damon last year.
Love Joel.
They got T28. So again, not the best finish, when 33 teams make the cut here.
Yeah.
JT Poston, 3 top 20s this year, only 1 missed cut out of 12 events. A lot of pages that I've been seeing have like Poston and Mitchell kind of as the power team going into this week. I just don't see it. I don't see Keith Mitchell being a good enough player. I don't see JT Poston being a good enough player to outlast Rory and to outlast Shane. Never mind the rest of the guys that I'm about to highlight after it. So for me, in the top 3 in terms of the favorites, 2 and 3, I'm staying very, very far away from.
So I kind of disagree with you in regards to this one here. Both players are trending up at the moment, in my opinion. Poston's made 11 out of 12, like you said, tied for 11th at the Heritage last week. Mitchell's made 9 out of 10 cuts, tied for 2nd in the Punta Cana Championship, which obviously plays opposite of the RBC, which, we talked about earlier, doesn't really have as big of an impact.
Not worried about it, yeah.
But this is a week where you're going to see random names at the top of the leaderboard, right? And Poston, missed 2 of 4 cuts in the Zurich Classic and has never finished among the top 10. But Mitchell, tied for 4th in 2021 with Burns, was solo 6th in 2023 with Sungjae Im. Now, obviously, Sungjae's a lot better than Poston, but as a random
so is
stat
Sam Burns.
Is he?
Yeah, 100% he is.
Not in my mind the way Sam's playing lately, but Keith Mitchell ranks number 1 on tour for lowest scoring round on a Thursday. We talked about needing a fast start. You're playing best ball Thursday. That's a pretty good stat to have. I don't know if I would pick them in my top 10s, 5, 20s. I don't know if I'm as confident in that. I just don't think I'm against them as much as you are this week. I think that they do have the ability to start hot on Thursday, and a Friday round could definitely put them down the leaderboards, but hopefully not out of the cut line, and that kind of a thought process.
Yeah, just in my mind, there are so many more teams that I would pick above them. It kind of stuck out to me being Keith Mitchell, but it's just not enough for me. So
no, that's fair. That's fair.
Let's move on. So I have some notable teams that aren't in, obviously, the top 3 in terms of the betting odds. One team I really have my eye on is Thomas Dietrich and Robert McIntyre. They're plus 1,800 to win. This team finished T8 last year. Dietrich has already won on tour this year, winning, of course, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. He's only missed 3 cuts out of 12 events at the Arnold Palmer, the Players, and then the Masters. Okay, so really tough events that you're going to miss the cut. And honestly, TPC Louisiana, I don't find, especially when you look at the scores that win every year, is going to test the Players as much as those 3 courses do. So not a very big red flag in terms of my eyes. He has a T22, a T15, and a 5 sprinkled in the season along with that win. He's playing very good golf.
Yeah.
Bobby Mack won the Canadian Open last year. Hasn't really done as much this year. He's only missed 2 cuts, only 9 events played.
He won twice last year, actually.
Did he win? What did he also do?
I don't know the other one. I can pull it up, but he definitely won twice last year.
I thought he only won the Canadian.
I say this shit and I don't freaking know.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, I'm going to look it up right now for us.
That's okay. But yeah, the two missed cuts that he has is in the Genesis and the Masters. So again, harder playing courses. We're at an easier playing course this week. He's got a T15 at the Century, a T6 at the Phoenix Open, T11 at the Arnold Palmer, and a 9th at the Players. I really, really have my eyes on this team as 2 players who are trending well this year. One of them obviously with a win already, and as a team that has traditionally played very well together.
So McIntyre also won the Genesis
Scottish Open. That's right.
Scottish Open.
That's
so
right.
He won the Canadian and Scottish Open last year. Yeah. I agree with you. I really, really like this grouping. They finished T8 last year as their debut as a team. I have a little bit of stats for a little bit later on with these 2 here, but yeah, I fully agree with you. Dietrich, he won this year at the Phoenix Open. McIntyre finished pretty decently at at that as well.
T6.
The Phoenix. T6. Yeah, there we go. In my eyes, that's a similar type course to what we're at today, or this weekend, sorry. So, I fully agree with you. I've got them on my list of contenders for this week.
And fun fact, more Europeans playing in a Ryder Cup year prior to playing in the Ryder Cup. So a whole lot of good practice and a whole lot of good things to show, team captains on what they can do.
Yeah.
I see that you have a group there up on your screen that I don't have highlighted. So if you want to get into them, I'd more than
I'd love to
listen to.
I'd love to. So, sitting at 1,800 plus 1,800 odds to win the tournament, we have Billy Horschel and Tom Hoge. And is it Hoge? I feel like I've said it 8 different ways.
I think it's hoagie, like the sandwich.
Love it.
You can call him whatever you want.
We're gonna stick with
pretty
hoagie.
famous for pronouncing names in some pretty fucked up ways. So
all right, well, we're going with Sandwich Boy. So Billy Ho and Sandwich Boy. All right, so I mean, let's take a look at this. Billy Horschel is one player who knows how to get it done around TPC Louisiana. So he's the only player who's won this tournament as an individual and as a team. He's the only player. He posted -20 himself when he claimed the title in 2013, and then he won it with Scott Piercy in 2018 as a team. Horschel was also tied for 4th in 2021, 2nd in 2022, and 11th in 2023, with all those results coming alongside Sam Burnsy. And the 2-time champion is now with our guy, Sandwich Boy, Tom Hoge. Ranked 42nd in the world, Hoagie's been posting consistent results over the last month. He's registered top 5 finishes at the Players Championship and the Texas Open before having a 14th place finish at the Masters and a 18th place finish last week at the RBC Heritage. He has 1 top 10 and another 2 top 15s at the Zurich Classic, and he also has experience winning team events, having won the now defunct QBE shootout with Sahith Theegala in 2022. So both Hoge and Horsch are strong putters, part of the game that's essential to winning at TPC Louisiana. So I'm very high on Billy Horschel and Sandwich Boy Tom Hoge this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good spotlight. And to be honest with you, maybe it's just I don't put enough respect on either of their names. Tom Hoagie's never been a player that's really done it for me. Mm-hmm. It's never one of those names that I see on the leaderboard and I go, yeah, go get it, Tom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Billy Ho is another story. I mean, I love Billy Ho more for the personality than the golf. I think that he was great on the TGL this year and was, a fundamental part of that team winning, which was great to see. But again, very up and down kind of career. When he's hot, and when he's not, he's not. And in my experience, he's more often not than he is hot. And I literally saw his name and I just kept scrolling. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do, listening to the research that you did on them. I don't mind him. I agree with you. It's a good spotlight to have going into this weekend.
Honestly, when I saw Billy Ho's name on there, all I saw was that backwards shot that he did earlier this year, swinging the wrong way and hitting like the most unbelievable shot that you'd ever see. And then he tried to reproduce it like a week later on video, and he couldn't do it until he tried to not hit it hard. He's like, oh, I guess that was what I was doing.
Yeah, it's just not something you practice. Dude, it's incredible.
Levels of skill, right?
We talk about this all the time. There's levels to this shit. Oh, God, yeah. And like when you're at that level and you can just walk up to a ball and know how to hit it in that time, especially when you have, all of the emotions of the round inside of you, and to be able to compose yourself and hit that shot is incredible. So maybe I should have put some more respect on his name. Only time will tell.
Well, we'll see.
This next group is another group I really do have a close eye on. This is the Canadian team of Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor. Plus 3,000. I had them at odds to win. They came in 10th last year. Hadwin this year has had maybe a little bit of what I'd say kind of a struggling year. 4 missed cuts out of 11 starts. His best finish so far this year has been a T9 at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. 29th is his second best finish. So not really playing his best golf, but has played really good golf alongside Nick Taylor. Now, Nick Taylor's only had 2 missed cuts so far in 11 starts this year. That was back-to-back starts for him at the Players and the Houston Open. He's already won this year with the Sony Open. He has a T9 at the Genesis, a T12 at the American Express. They play well as a team. They represent our great country of Canada.
Our great Canada of country.
And obviously with the notable team of Corey Connors and Taylor Pendrith that I was really excited to see this week not playing, it's hard for me not to root for the Canadian boys that are out there.
Friendship, familiarity, and good old Canucks. I'm right there with you. Definitely more excited about Nick Taylor's game this year than Adam Hadwin's. I mean, it's the numbers speak for themselves. But truthfully, I think that this grouping has always done well here. Friendship, familiarity is truthfully the name of this game this week. I really do see them having a good week this week. Maybe it's just the Canucks that are blinding me, but I'm full on Team Canuck, and I'm going to put a little bit of money on that.
I mean, blinders aside, 10th place last year, they know how to get it done, right? And it's not like Adam and Nick were having great seasons last year either. Like they're players that kind of, it's unfortunate to say, but a lot of the Canadian boys that we root on are middle of the pack guys, right? They're not outshining stars or anything like that. Any given week, they're going to show up. And I mean, we've been having an extraordinary season out of Corey Connors, and being able to see his name up there throughout the season so far has just been great. That's a new feeling for me.
Yeah.
Being able to chase that down. It's usually, I get a couple of weeks a year where their names start to climb, right? So I'm not too worried about how Adam's been playing. I think that once he tees it up and he's got Nick by his side, that they're going to do something special this week.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm just excited to see them playing. I kind of agree with you where I was more excited to see Corey Connors, teeing it up. And unfortunately, this week, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of star power compared to some previous years, looking through the leaderboards and, some of those finishes. And especially with it being a Ryder Cup year, I thought, like you did, that people would put importance on the team events because there's so few of them on the tour. So a little bit disappointed, but, seeing them being the only Canucks on the weekend there, it's hard not to back them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, like, notable teams. I just scrolled down and I was going to get to it later, but notable teams missing this year, like Patty Ice and Xander, I was really excited to see tee it up together. Both of them have been having dare I say, kind of a struggling season. Xander a little bit more than Patty Ice, but Cantlay's been struggling to get it done throughout the stretch. Yeah. Xander's been struggling to show up. So I was really excited to see the power duo of Patrick Cantlay and Xander. Again, kind of a Ryder Cup preview coming into this week. Same thing with JT and Spieth. I mean, JT is now in a position where if, you know, the Ryder Cup was happening next weekend, he's on the team.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth still having that struggling year. He can't quite put 4 days together. He's got these flash in the pan of brilliance that we get to see where we know it still lives inside him, but he just can't get it done. And in my thought, like, this would have been a great week for a historical pairing between JT and Spieth in previous, not just Ryder Cups, but President's Cups as well. I thought this would have been a great year coming off of, you know, a win with JT to bring that momentum into Spieth and show Captain Keegs, I have what it takes, put me on the team. And now there's just still question marks, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I would have loved to see JT and Spieth, you know, lighting it up, because Spieth hasn't had a horrible year this year. He hasn't won, right? But he's had a lot of decent finishes. And I think the pairing of him and JT, you know, we were talking earlier about like who you'd be putting on the Ryder Cup team. And one of your comments was they're probably going to put Spieth because of, you know, the locker room effect with JT and some of the other guys. And this would have been that opportunity to showcase that that is a true valuable kind of component to picking players for this Ryder Cup team.
For sure. Because like I had them up earlier, and to see if I still do. Okay, so if you scroll all the way down and you keep going and keep going and keep going, Jordan Spieth right now is 30th in points for the Ryder Cup. So even though I'm a big locker room guy, I'm a big Jordan Spieth history at the Ryder Cup, history with Justin Thomas, growing up together, playing side by side, and what they've been able to do for us in the past, you're going to have a conversation where Captain Keegan Bradley has, you know, 24 guys in front of Spieth that he has to pass up on and explain why. And if that doesn't go his way, he's going to have a lot more explaining to do why. Where if they showed up to the Zurich this weekend and they have a top 10 finish, a top 5 finish, hell, if they win the damn thing, it's an absolute shoo-in. There is no doubt for anybody that Jordan Spieth is on that team. It could also go the other way. They could miss the cut, and then it makes it a really easy decision for Keegan to say, yeah, I know the history is there, but the game isn't. Not only on an individual standpoint, but look at what he did at the Zurich. And it just allows our captain to be able to make easier decisions, and they're just not allowing him to do that. So I don't know if it's because JT won. I don't know if they were in and pulled out. I have no idea what their schedules look like and why they're not playing. All I can say is I'm disappointed I'm not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, I think the human aspect of making these picks kind of sucks, because in my eyes, it should be the best man for the job gets the job every single time, just like in the real world, right? When your resume stacked up against another resume, it should be who is better qualified for this position, and that person should get the job, right? And so in my head, I also think back to, you know, some prior successes and failures in Ryder Cups. And I want to kind of take a deeper dive into who was picked, why they were picked, were people passed up on that had better statistics that year? And, you know, would that have changed the outcome had they been picked over someone who was a locker room type guy?
Keegan, last Ryder Cup, right? Like it happens. It happens all the time. And I think the hard part when it comes to the captain's picks as well, especially when you look at the points. So obviously top 6 players on points get in automatically. You can have a season where you have one win and then you don't do anything for the rest of the season. And that may catapult your points up where you're, you know, 12th or 11th or 13th in terms of points, where as a captain, I might say, okay, yeah, you had one good week, but you've been mediocre the rest of the season, where another player has consistently top 10 or consistently top 20'd and has been a just more overall consistent player throughout the year.
Yeah.
And that makes it a little bit different in terms of picks. Jordan Spieth is in a situation where, yes, his game is trending. Yes, I'm watching him closely just because he's Jordan Spieth. But realistically, I mean, you just mentioned Billy Horschel and Tom Hoagie and statistics that I should be watching on players that I'm not because their name isn't Jordan Spieth.
Yep.
Right? So it's going to be interesting. We're going to get to that obviously later in the year when we get closer. But as for the Zurich, there's still a lot more teams to kind of go through. So
yeah,
you want to keep on going?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a little bit of a powerhouse group here, in my opinion. All right, my guy Sepp Straka, and then Bryce Garnett.
Now, is that a power team because of the name? It's a power name.
It's a power name. Yeah, it's a power name.
I'm hoping you have some
sure.
stats to back up that power team name.
I got a little bit here for you. So, Straka is one of only 5 golfers in the Zurich Classic field that's ranked inside the top 20 in the world. So we talked about a lot of people not showing up this week. Sepp is showing up. Straka is ranked 16th. He's a 3-time PGA Tour winner, including winning the 2025 American Express in January. 31-year-old has missed the cut in a loaded Masters field, right? Which kind of sucked, but he's made the cut in 10 of 11 non-major events this season and finished 11th or better in 4 tournaments. Straka's finished T13 last week at RBC Heritage, closing the tournament with back-to-back rounds of 67s. Garnett is a 2-time PGA Tour winner. Fun fact, didn't know who Garnett was before I did my research today.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that, but I'm gonna let you finish your spiel and then I'll give my 2 cents. Into it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I expect that from you. I do. Once again, 2-time PGA Tour winner. Didn't know who he was. He's won twice, right? A lot more than some other players that my brain focuses on more because I like, they're popping in the scene, right? This guy's got 2 wins. He played well with Straka last year. They finished T11 at the Zurich Classic together. Straka's certainly more reliable golfer, right? But Garnett ranks in the top 35 on the PGA Tour in scrambling and scrambling from the rough, while ranking 19th in sand save percentage. Scrambling is not Straka's strong suit, as he ranks 100th on the tour in that statistic, yet he's 3rd on the tour in scoring average. So these 2 skill sets could complement each other, and it is a little bit of a long shot. They're plus 3,500 to win, but I like them more than some of the other people that we've talked about already.
Yeah, so it's funny that you said that. So obviously Sepp's name came up, and it's a name that we know. It's a name that we follow. I literally looked at it and said, who the fuck is Garnett?
Same, man. Same. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, he's won?
And you know what? I mean, all I can do is be honest on this pod in terms of how I make my picks. And you can choose to tail that or not if you don't want to. But I think this honestly might be another one of those instances just like Billy Ho and Hoagie, right? Where I saw the names, I didn't like it, I moved on. I moved on to who I've seen play well and who I know, and then I've done my research to back up that that's the pick I want to do. I saw Sepp and I went, oh, that would be a great pick. Who the fuck is Garnett? Keep scrolling. And maybe that comes to bite me in the ass this week or not. I mean, they definitely have played well before in the past, especially last year, of course, having that 11th place finish, but just not a team that I really paid any attention to.
Yeah, it's like I like going by stats, right? And so going by my first model, I see people's names and I'm like, hey, let's look up the stats, see if they back up my thought process of I like that name. Because that's literally how I do it, right? Oh, I know that guy, I know this guy. Oh, I like that name. Let's start looking up stats, right? And so it's similar in a sense. You're like, it's a feel thing for you. And then you look into like how they finished before and you kind of make your decisions. I love the stats of this, right? And Sepp is, a really, really good golfer. I think I kind of promoted him a little bit too much in the beginning of this year, mainly because, of the name, right? But truthfully, he is a strong golfer. And looking up Bryce, I found another strong golfer that I really didn't know about, right? And this week is going to be a week of names that you don't really know at the top of that leaderboard. I think that they have a really good chance to be some of those names at the top that you really don't know. And now we do. One of the other things that really helps me with the Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett situation is they both work with the same trainer, John Tillery.
Ooh, Johnny T.
John Tillery is their trainer, both of them.
So beautiful.
Another great name, another well-known trainer in the sport.
Yeah, 100% famous for helping Trent Ryan of Barstool Sports break 100 finally, and then break 90 as well. So, I mean, if you can make, a golfer like Trent, no disrespect, love you, big guy, but
Trent will probably beat me.
He did some phenomenal work with Trent, and I mean, I've obviously been following Barstool for years and being able to see his transition right from what he was before to what he is now is incredible. So I don't mind that backup stat with Johnny T being behind both of their bags.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I like this team a lot. Again, the Garnett one, it's, hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass. But no, I do like Sepp Straka this week.
Hey, maybe they show up this week and then it's a name that becomes a Dechambros household name, but I had no idea who he was.
Well, for example here, so because I see you got the same situation pulled up here, this was one where I saw the names, I looked at the stats, and I chose to fade based on looking at the stats, even though I liked the names. So this for me is Nico Echevarria and Max Greyersman.
Yeah, so honestly, it's kind of the exact same situation that I had with them as well. I mean, to me, Max and Nico are two rising stars, or I think a better description of them is the possibility of having rising stars, right?
Yep.
Two young guys that are coming out. They did play last year together, and they played well together. They got a T4 last year, and that was the first thing that really popped out to my head, right? First, that Max and Nico were playing together, and I've loved watching them this season. But then, of course, they're finishing. When I look at how they've both done so far this year, Max only has 2 missed cuts out of 12 starts. That, of course, being the players in the Houston. It's a trend with a lot of the players that I looked up. So, again, two kind of harder playing courses going through. He's got a T24 at the Century, a T7 at the American Express, another T24 at the Genesis. Then we have a T11 at the Cognizant, or as you call the Classic. The Arnold Palmer, he finished T22 and T27 last week at the Heritage. So Greyersman right now is kind of that a little bit better than the middle of the pack, but he hasn't really done enough to break out onto the scene, okay? I was expecting a little bit more out of him, especially when I was talking very highly about him in the first podcast that we did, when we were kind of looking at, a whole season overview. Has he let me down? I can't really say that he has. I mean, especially where he's at in terms of his career. He's a young kid that's out there. Being consistently in the middle isn't a bad thing. I would actually prefer that more than seeing a 5th, a miscut, a miscut, a miscut, a 10th, a miscut, right? Yeah. So we know that he can play consistent golf. Nico lost the Sony in a playoff already this year. He has a T16 at the Valspar. He's missed 4 cuts out of the 11 starts. So again, that's where this team has the consistency in Max and then that up and down play of Nico. I faded them as well. I think that both golfers, as of right now, are playing just a little bit below what my expectations were for them for the season. That being said, they are still both playing decent golf and they play well together. I might, this might come back to bite me and obviously ultimately you as well, but it's another team that I chose to stay away from.
Well, yeah, I started looking into the stats, right? And I talked about how putting is going to be really important. And this is, a little bit against what we're both saying here, but Nico Echevarria is actually first on tour in strokes gained putting. So, he's got a great putting stick there. He's 38th on tour birdie or better conversion rate, which is another great stat for this. But then when you actually take a look at all of his stats, he's over 100th in every single category that's important beyond putting. Strokes gained, tee to green, strokes gained approach, true strokes gained. All of these are sitting over 100. And I just don't have confidence in those statistics when I'm thinking of my actual bets.
See, and that's where sometimes too, when you're looking into the stats,
It could bite me because some weeks they do way better, others they don't.
Well, they can trick you too, especially in putting. Okay, so let me give you an example. You take a player like Scotty Scheffler, right? His tee to green is some of the best that we've ever seen. He's always getting on that green in regulation, which means most times than not, his first putt is from farther than 20 feet.
Yep.
Right? What's your conversion rate on that? Very, very low. If you're missing every single green and you're chipping it to 2 feet or you're chipping it to 5 feet, if you have more putts within 10 feet, you're going to make more putts. You're going to have a better putting statistic, but you're not going to score as well. You're not going to play as well. And I think that that's what we're seeing out of Nico's game. And I think that's why it's so up and down. He has those weeks where around the green, he can be a wizard and he can get that thing up and down and he can kind of trot his way along. He has those weeks where he can't, and then you're two putting for bogeys instead of for pars. And that's a big, big difference.
Yeah, I think the consistency with Scotty is a little unfair too, in a sense, because the difference is Scotty is ranking 1 through 3 in all the main approach categories, and then he's 38th putting, right? And so, I agree with you. That 38th is a little misleading, and he does miss, a few putts that were all like, again, Scotty, right? Like, you could have put the pressure on, and you missed that one, but then he makes a random, really long one, and it just... So, yeah, I do agree with you that the whole putting stats is a little harder to recognize, but the 38th birdie or better conversion is a telling stat as well.
100%.
For Echevarria. So when he's in position to score, he is scoring. It's just, can he get himself in that position this week? And that's where the consistency comes into play to bite him. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to move on to some brother groups. Obviously, this podcast is based on us two brothers, chit-chatting. So two big groups that kind of popped out to me in terms of brothers. Of course, we have the Højgaard brothers at plus 2,500. They missed the cut last year. Okay, so this is another going to give you a couple of reasons in terms of why I'm staying away from them, but I wanted to highlight them as brothers. Missed the cut last year. Rasmus's play has been below the middle of the pack, I'd say, for this year so far. He's missed 3 cuts out of only 8 events played. T12 is his best finish so far this year at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. He hasn't really done anything else. So nothing too spectacular out of him. Nikolai missed the last 4 cuts in a row.
Yeah, it's not good.
Best finish being a T8 at the Mexico Open and a T18 at the Cognizant. So these kind of, lesser tier events he shows up to. The main PGA Tour events, he doesn't. So them missing the cut last year, them just both having lackluster seasons so far, definitely skipped them, but, wanted to give them props for just, I'd love to be able to play an event with you, and I love just going out on weekends for you. So whether they miss the cut or they finish in first, just having your brother by your side for a weekend is a hell of a lot of fun.
Big Rasmus guy on this side here. We famously picked him in our fantasy team there. I felt like we would see a little bit of a stronger showing this year out of him. I didn't do any research on these two, so this is just more kind of right off the top on how I feel about them. I felt like going into the season, having an older brother on tour who's a little bit more experienced was really going to help Rasmus. And, with that T12, it's definitely done something for him. But you're not wrong. Like, hearing that they missed the cut last year doesn't surprise me because they're still both so young. I really feel like these two brothers could be something if they, had a little bit more. This being one of those random weeks where I keep saying you're going to see random names at the top of that leaderboard. I would absolutely love to see these brothers up there.
I mean, I would love to see it. If they're up there, I'm going to miss out on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any research on them, so I agree. I'm not putting any of my money on them, but...
Another fun one to watch is the Fitzpatrick brothers, okay, in terms of Alex and Matt. Obviously, Alex famously not being a PGA Tour member is really fun to watch him and his brother Matt go out there and play. Obviously, with his brother being a major winner. But also, Matt hasn't played his best golf since winning. Like, he doesn't have a single top 20 in 2025. It's not a group that I wanted to bring up to say, hey, watch them and see them do something special. Just, again, something I wanted to touch on in terms of, I always love seeing these brother groups go out there just because they're kind of living out my dream of being able to play professional golf with their brothers. So just wanted to give them a little bit of a shout out and a spotlight there.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, you're not wrong. Hasn't really done much since his big win. We talked about it earlier in the pod, a previous episode there. Zero faith in their ability to pull through this week, especially with his brother. I mean, last year, didn't they finish well last year?
T11.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a surprising.
It was very surprising. I wouldn't expect the same showing this year. But I mean, maybe that's what it takes, is just, being on the course with your brother, having no stress, not, having fun again. I think that'll do a lot for some of these teams.
Could be, and I'm not sure. Honestly, this is just off the top of my head too. I know that he has played in terms of, I would say he and Alex. I know Alex has played European Tour events. Don't know how he's played on them. Don't know how he's finished. So he is a professional golfer. It's not like he's just his brother coming off the street and playing a scramble with
like
them.
Me.
So
shooting a 98.
There is that ability for them to be able to place again. But again, another one of those that I'll be missing if it does happen.
You got one more? Because I got another one in the brother kind of aspect, and maybe not in the familial brotherly aspect, but more in I feel like these guys would have been like on the same Kappa Omega, what are those called again, Shane? At universities.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You don't know what a Kappa Omega
fraternity?
is? Jesus Christ. I feel like, is there any other way? Yes, the fraternity. Thank you.
You didn't know it either.
I know, because I have fucking ADD and my brain doesn't work the same as yours. But
frat, yes.
It was
frat brothers is what we're saying.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah. Thank you. So these two would be frat brothers, and probably my favorite frat brothers if they were Joel Damon and Harry Higgs. I absolutely love Harry Higgs. I know you don't, because he took his shirt off. So did Joel.
It's not just that he took his shirt off. Harry Higgs lost his tour card, man. It's just that he's just not a good golfer. I say that loosely. He's a professional golfer. He's not a top tier competitor. I have zero interest or thought that they're going to place anywhere. If you were to have a bet on who's going to miss the cut, that would be the easiest bet for me to make.
This would be my dark horse to do well this week. Harry Higgs has played well randomly on tour at these lower events that don't mean much.
On the Corn Ferry Tour?
No, on the regular tour. Look up his finishes. He's done better than the Rasmus brothers have.
Yeah, they haven't played.
He has top 10s. He has top 5s. He's never won, no. But he's played well sporadically. He's not a great top-tier golfer. You are very correct. But I love his aura. I love what he does for the sport. And he is an entertainer who golfs. And when he golfs well, he'd be a better... I feel like if he was a really good golfer, he would be so good for the tour because he's an entertainer as well.
Sorry, just to cut back. Are you talking career-wise finishes or this season finishes?
Career-wise
finishes. Oh, career-wise. Yeah, okay. That's a little bit different. Yeah. So, because he's playing on the Corn Fair this year. but anyways,
he's also played a PGA Tour event this year.
Yeah,
a few of them.
I agree with you as a character. He's a good one. Yeah. And the same thing with Joel. I mean, I think that Joel is very good for the game of golf in terms of the fact of showcasing that the game of golf is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And he's been very open and vocal on his own personal and mental struggles. And I think that that's an important piece of the puzzle for anyone who is viewing professional golf, to realize these people are just humans that are really good at playing the sport that we're really bad at playing, but that we love to play, right? Now, that being said, I don't put my money on a feel-good story. And that's why I couldn't stay any further away than this group. I think that you're going to see a lot of highlights. They're going to get a lot of airtime just because of who they are and the stories that they have, and, the history with the waste management. Like, that's all fun and dandy and all good. But when it comes to Saturday, they're not going to have any airtime because they're not going to be playing.
Well, here's what I think. I think Joel Damon is someone who's really hungry. He played well until the last 4 holes last week. Famously losing after having how many, 3-stroke lead going into the last 4 holes, something like that, right? It was a rough showing at the end there, and he was very open about it. You're correct, and he has been his whole career. I think a win or a top placement for both of these two men would be so much more than a lot of the other people in the field. And I feel like for Harry Higgs, getting his tour card back, that is a huge determination. He wants to play very well. Joel Damon isn't coming here to have fun this week. He's pissed off about what happened last week, and he needs to show that he's a good golfer. I think both of these men are in positions that playing their best golf would be fortuitous for them. And that was a huge word for me in that moment. Thank you very much.
Pronounced it well, too.
I know, right?
Fuck right. See that reaction?
Jesus,
Woo!
Sign me up, universities. But at the same time, I understand where you're coming from. They both have historically not played well consistently, right? Harry Higgs specifically hasn't played well consistently. Joel Damon is someone who's like just scraping onto that tour card and like holding on for dear life. And I just really think they're both men who could do well. And I keep going back to this. This is going to be one of those random weeks.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm a sucker for a good story, but I love this story.
I think the story is what's selling you. And in my opinion, my experience watching him, I don't think that Joel Damon is the kind of guy that pisses away a lead and gets mad. I think that he's the kind of guy that pisses away a win and gets sad. And sad on the golf course isn't good for winning. This isn't going to be like, you know, the attitude era of Rory where we see that switch and he starts winning. Like, I just don't see it. Nothing against him personally. I couldn't say anything but good things about him and his story. But again, I'm not going to put my money on a story and how good it's going to make me feel if they win. I would love to see them win. I think that would be massive for both of them, not just in terms of their careers and their cards, but in terms of their, you know, confidence moving forward in terms of the events that they go to. It could be a really big turning point for both of them. And hey, I'm not going to be upset if I see them playing Saturday. I just don't see it happening.
Nobody needs a win like Joel Damon needs a win. That's for sure. Honestly, it's
for sure. So, I mean, that's your black horse team. I have a black horse team I want to get to, if you don't mind. Dark horse, black horse, what is it?
Dark horse, yeah.
Dark horse, sure. My dark horse, whatever. My dark horse team is Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin.
Okay? Love it. I absolutely love that. So I was going to put a little bit on that as well, but I kind of stayed a little bit away, but talk to me.
I mean, I love this pairing of Novak and of Griffin. So Novak's on a heater right now, man. Like, he finished third at the Valero, and he just lost in a playoff to JT. He also has a third in the Farmers. We were talking about this earlier on the pod. 2 T13 sprinkled in there as well in terms of the Genesis and the AT&T. He's a name that I don't normally think about, but he's playing this season like he should be someone that we're talking about more and that we have to pay more attention to. Ben Griffin is also having a really good season as well.
He's got a few top 5 finishes, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a 7th at the American Express and then a T4 at both the Mexican Open and the Cognizant.
There we go.
So they are lesser events, but this is kind of a lesser event in terms of the field as well. So
I keep saying it.
I am a really, really big fan of this pairing. I don't think that it's a pairing that's getting, you know, a lot of airtime out of people and a lot of respect for how they're both playing. But this is definitely a team that I have my eye on going into this week. Yeah,
Ben Griffin's one that surprised me this year, how well he's playing. I really like that pick for you. Again, I was going to sprinkle a little bit on that, but I kind of chose to go a little bit of a different way. But yeah, definitely Novak. I feel like it's hard to repeat like week after week after week, especially having a few really hard weeks in a row. So that was kind of my thought process as why I stayed away. But
he's got Ben to lean on, right?
He
does. Not like he has to go out there and do it all by himself again. So
yeah.
So you mentioned that in terms of picks. I mean, I'm done with the teams that I want to spotlight. I don't know if you have anything else or if we can get into my favorite time of the day, which of course is our 20s, 10s, and 5s for the week. So
let's get to it.
I'm going to start out with my top 20 picks. So I grabbed the Canadian team of Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor for my top 20 bet. Both of them aren't playing their best golf this year, but historically they play well together. As the only two Canadian, not only two Canadians in the field, but the only, full Canadian team, it's definitely the team that I want to be able to cheer for. And with top finishes that they've had in the past, top 20 just felt right to have, not a safe bet, but a safe bet to be able to cheer them on.
So I have Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin at plus 110 for my top 20 pick as well, purely based off them being Canucks, their prior finishes mixed in with great odds. I would have been comfortable with a top 10, honestly, but when I took a look at it, having them at plus 110 odds for top 20, this is an odds pick for me. Honestly, I looked at other teams and I felt like that was a little bit disrespectful for the Canadians to be only plus 110 there.
Well, check your sports books, folks, because I got them at plus 140 this afternoon. So it may have changed.
I mean, I was telling you, when I started doing my research, Rory and Thing were plus 350 to win. And then when I went downstairs, talked to you, they were at plus 400 to win. They changed within the hour. So it's rough. But yeah, this is an odds pick for me. And again, similar to you, I think it's a safe pick to have some fun with the Canadians this week.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Who you got for top 10 there, Tan?
I got Billy Horschel and Tom Hoagie.
Love that.
Plus 190 at that. I'll go through it again, right? But Horschel's won this event solo and in team. He's got a lot of other top finishes as well, a 4th, a 2nd, and tied for 11th in 2023. Hoagie has a top 10, 2 top 15 finishes at the Zurich. He's playing really well recently with a T3 at the Players, a T5 at Valero, and a 14 at the Masters, an 18 last weekend. Again, he's won a team event as well in 2022. I think the stars are aligning at plus 190. This is my solidified pick here.
Yeah,
Billy Ho and Tom Hoagie.
I love it. I love it for all the things that you said earlier in the pod and obviously just summarized there again now. I also love it because, for me, it's going to be fun to watch that bet that you have because it's a team that I just brushed aside, right? And that the research and the stats show. So it's going to be one of those. If it hits, and I told you so for you, which is going to be fun. If it misses, it's it's a little bit of a cockiness for me on why I brushed them aside. But anyways, I love that pick, and let's see how they do. My top 10, I'm going to go right back into Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin at plus 230. Andrew Novak currently, with how he's been playing this year, is 11th in Ryder Cup points. So we were talking a little bit about, how Spieth is down there at 30th. Andrew Novak is right outside that top 10. This is his opportunity to show Captain Keegan Bradley, hey, I'm here. This is how I've been playing this year, and this is how I play on a team and why I deserve to be a captain's pick. I think not only is Andrew playing great golf and is Ben playing great golf, but there's a little bit of an added incentive for Andrew Novak to go out there and place well. So, I'm on the Andrew Novak train, and I'm just hoping Ben Griffin gets on it with me.
Do you have that list up? Where is Novak ranked on the list right now for Ryder Cup?
11th.
11th?
I
Okay.
said that, yeah.
Wow.
11th.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Spaced right through that. No, that's awesome. I love that pick. Like I said, I didn't do as much research on them just because I felt like there might be a little bit of a hangover with Novak's play. But once again, it's going to be a moment for you to kind of show it in my face, right? All right. So my top 5, moving on here. I like to have fun, and I don't like to pick the favorites. And so I went with somebody who's a plus 330 to finish top 5.
Interesting.
I keep saying this is a random week. It's going to be a week where you see names you're not used to seeing up at the top. And for me, I think it's going to be Thomas Dietrich and Robert McIntyre. We've got T8 last year. Dietrich finished T13 at this event with Victor Perez in 2023. McIntyre's best starts this year, a T6 at the Phoenix Open, a T11 at Arnold Palmer, and a 9th at the Players. He's 33rd on the tour, strokes gained total, 131 putting. So again, a little bit of a weird stat there. But 7th off the tee and 18th tee to green. Dietrich's best starts. He won the Phoenix Open. He's T5 at Sentry. And he's 45th strokes gained total and 35th putting. So where McIntyre fails putting, hopefully Dietrich can kind of pull up those socks there.
Yeah. I mean, I love that pick. To be honest, I had them in my top 10, and I was back and forth between Novak and Griffin and Dietrich and McIntyre, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Ultimately, for the reasons that, I just stated, I ended up going with Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin. And I wasn't going to put them in my top 5 spot like you did, because unlike you, I don't bet to have fun. I have fun by winning money. And I don't care what you say. There was one team on there that was a guaranteed.
All I know is you better not chirp me next time I do something like this, because famously you do.
But here's the difference, right? Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry for a top 5 finish are minus 105. They're not minus 240. They're not minus.
When did I pick a minus 2 or 300?
Scotty Scheffler.
No, there was not a minus 300.
Roll the tape back. It was minus 240.
Do it. Show it to me.
I remember it. Well, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm fucking recording a podcast.
Because you're lying. Everyone, he lies.
Watch the episode. Watch the episode.
Pull it up.
Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry minus 105. Even money. Easy pick here. They're the one team in the field that I can almost guarantee is going to win, and they have the best shot, obviously, to win. They've won here before. They're both playing phenomenal golf. This is a Ryder Cup year. This is Ryder Cup prep. Minus 105 is even money, is easy money. My top 5 pick is Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry. It's a no-brainer.
I agree fully with everything you said.
Beautiful.
Except for that I picked something with minus 400 odds, which is ridiculous.
First, I never said 400 at all. I said minus 240. But
see how it's crazy when people lie in front of your face like that? Isn't that crazy?
Appreciate you guys for watching. Check in next week and see how everything did.
Love you, Bryson.